A lot of people go see their doctor because of a persistent cough or a burning feeling in their chest. And sometimes you might even go to the emergency room because you think you're having a heart attack. Or you might get a CAT scan for a completely different reason. But when you get home and read your results in your electronic medical record, you notice some words that you don't expect. Reflux, or the initials GERD, or esophagitis. What does that mean? That's exactly what today's video is about. Hi, I'm Dr. Brian. I'm a medical doctor, and today I'm going to break down gastroesophageal reflux, often called acid reflux, or given the initials GERD. It's one of the most common digestive conditions in the world, and it shows up on medical records all the time, even when your tests are done for a totally unrelated reason. Today, I'm going to explain, number 1, what is GERD? Number 2, why does it happen? Number 3, what can it feel like? And finally, number 4, if I have GERD, what can I do to help it? Now, to understand GERD or reflux, we need to understand a little anatomy. It starts with your esophagus. Now, that's the tube that carries food from your throat or your mouth all the way down to your stomach as a long muscular conveyor belt. At the very bottom of this esophagus is a ring-shaped valve called lower esophageal sphincter. In medical worlds, we call this LES. This valve's entire job is to stay closed, so stomach acid doesn't splash upward. Now, when reflux or GERD happens, this valve becomes weak, relaxed, or leaky. Acid and digestive enzymes escape upward, and your esophagus is not built to handle that. Well, why does GERD happen? In a lot of ways, GERD follows the same pattern as, say, diverticulosis. It becomes much more common with age, and it also usually isn't one single cause. It's a combination of things working together. Some people are simply born with a weaker LES, and reflux definitely runs in families. Age also, again, makes that valve a little leakier over time. But one of the biggest drivers is pressure. Anything that increases pressure inside your abdomen makes it harder for the LES, this sphincter, to stay closed. Extra weight around the midsection, large late night meals, tight clothing with tight belts, pregnancy, even just lying flat too soon after eating. None of these cause GERD on their own, but they make a weak valve struggle even more. Another incredibly common reason is what's known as a hiatal hernia. That's when part of the stomach actually slides upward through the diaphragm into your chest. It sounds dramatic, but it's very common, especially after the age of 50. And just by shifting the angle and position of the stomach when it slides up, this makes that LES much less effective at sealing. Then there's the issue of how quickly your stomach empties. If food sits in your stomach too long, something we call delayed gastric emptying, pressure builds up. And if you have a lot of pressure in your stomach, the pressure really has only one direction to go, upward. We see this a lot in diabetes, but it can happen in anyone. Even a healthy LES can get overwhelmed when the stomach becomes a high pressure chamber. Now, food choices can layer on top of all of this. Spicy food, caffeine, chocolate, peppermint, a lot of times tomato-based foods, and oftentimes alcohol. All of those can relax the LES. Now, the key point though is triggers vary widely from person to person. What sets off reflux in one person may be completely harmless to someone else. And finally, smoking. Just one more reason to quit. Nicotine is a strong relaxer of the LES, and smokers are much more likely to deal with chronic reflux. And the really good news, quitting often leads to improvement within just a few weeks. Keep in mind, GERD, acid reflux, or reflux isn't just too much acid, it's a perfect storm. Pressure pushing from below, a valve, your LES that's weak or leaky, sometimes a hiatal hernia, sometimes slow stomach emptying, and then certain foods can be overlapped on top of all of that, tipping everything over the edge. So if you think you have reflux or GERD, what does it feel like? Well, most people think of heartburn, and that's very common, but it can look very different from person to person. The classic symptom is a burning sensation in the chest and or going up to your throat, but some people also experience experience just a sour taste in their mouth. They can have literally regurgitation of food or liquid that can occur. You can have chronic burping, just a general feeling of bloating and nausea. And GERD can show up in some surprising ways. You can have a very chronic cough, especially at night, or it can really affect your voice box. You can have hoarseness and a constantly scratchy voice that just won't go away. Others can even have asthma that gets worse. And as I mentioned earlier, you can also have chest pain that can closely mimic heart attacks. This is why reflux is commonly found when your doctor is looking at other things that initially seem completely unrelated. So you think you have acid reflux, GERD. What do you do? One of the simplest and honestly one of the most effective changes is adjusting the angle of your body at night. A lot of people stack pillows underneath them, but that just bends your neck and oftentimes it doesn't do much for reflux. What actually helps is raising your entire body so gravity keeps acid where it belongs. When your torso, upper body, is elevated by 6 to 8 inches, acid has a much harder time traveling upward, and your nighttime reflux can really dramatically improve. The most reliable way to do this isn't special pillows, again that bends your neck. It's raising the head of the bed itself. You can slide simple wooden blocks, even plain 2x4s, under the head of your bed. It lifts the whole frame gently, it's inexpensive, and once you set it up, you never have to think about it again. And again, when gravity is working with you instead of against you, a lot of times you will really notice improvement in your reflux. Another really important fix is timing. Your stomach produces the most acid in the first few hours after a meal. If you lie down flat during that window, even if it's just watching TV or scrolling your phone in bed, that acid has a straight shot upward. So give yourself 2 to 3 hours between your last meal and lying down. That can make a surprisingly big difference. Meal size matters also. The stomach is basically a muscular bag. The fuller it gets, the more pressure it generates. Large meals stretch the stomach and push acid upward. Smaller, more frequent meals can help keep that pressure low. Also, if you carry extra weight around your abdomen, losing even 10 to 15 pounds can meaningfully reduce your symptoms. Even modest weight loss can reduce that pressure, pushing on that LES. And finally, a repeat, if you smoke, nicotine weakens that sphincter. It weakens your LES, and reflux almost always improves once you quit smoking. Now, keep in mind, lifestyle changes help a lot, but oftentimes medications really do play an important role. Understanding how these medications work can help you use them more effectively, especially when you have conversations with your doctor. There are really 3 main categories of acid reflux medications. First, and most simply, are antacids. Think Maalox, Mylanta, Gaviscon. They just neutralize acid that's already there. They can, in mild cases of reflux, give you really fast relief, but they tend to be short-lived and they're really best for just occasional symptoms. You just take them when you need them. Second is the family of meds known as H2 blockers. These are things that you see in the drugstore: Pepcid, Cimetidine. They're different than antacids in that they reduce acid production, but only for several hours. They're slower than antacids, but they're longer lasting. And they're better for predictable patterns like regular symptoms at night. Finally is the big guns. These are known as proton pump inhibitors, PPIs. They're Prilosec, Prevacid, Nexium. These medications actually block the acid pumps in the stomach themselves, the little factory that makes acid in your stomach. They also don't work immediately. They build up over days to weeks, but they can really be effective for severe reflux. They don't fix a weak LES, but they can dramatically reduce irritation, and especially if your esophagus has been damaged by that continual acid, they can allow your esophagus to heal. Now, the antacids and that second group, the H2 blockers, are usually just available over the counter. PPIs can be available over the counter in some of the lower doses, but the higher strength doses will require a prescription and a visit to your doctor. That's acid reflux, or GERD, in a nutshell. It's common, it's treatable, and small changes often make a huge difference. If this cleared things up for you, hit the like, subscribe, and take a look at some of my other videos on my channel. Thanks for watching. I'm Dr. Brian, and I'll see you next time.